morning, everyone. This is Mr. Irvin, and this is a quick video on how to go ahead and use iMovie to create a quick commercial. And the first thing I actually would do is start gathering all of your resources. So for example, if you have some movie files and those kinds of things, make sure you know where to locate them at on your MacBook. But then the next thing I would do is I usually go and look for audio that fits what I'm working on. So I go to a Creative Commons source on YouTube, and I'm able to download any of these songs, and they're free to use any of these songs in any of my videos. And even if I publish them, for example, on YouTube, it would be legal. And super easy to go ahead and do. Once you have this link, you just click the download button. And I've already downloaded this first one right here, Daydream Bliss, and I'm going to use it in this video that I'm going to be creating. So once you're inside of iMovie, that's what I'm in right now, I'm just going to press Create New, and I'm going to say Create New Movie. Don't use the trailer function just because it's very limiting. And let's go ahead and use the movie function here. And what it says right from the beginning is you want to click on this My Movie thing so that you have this Import Media functionality right here. And you can click this button and do a search, but I think it's really annoying to do it that way. I instead use the little Finder button to be able to find the files that I actually want to go ahead and use. For example, I go right to my downloads and I find my Daydream Bliss one because that's one of the sound files I want to use, and I'm just going to drag it right in there. Then I can drag in any other types of files, for example, image files like this one right here, or I can drag in other movie files, for example, the videos that you guys already just recorded, and I'm going to find a file like that that's an MP4 file. And I think I'll just use one of my intro videos. One of these, we'll use video 1 here, so I can just show you kind of what happens here. So once you have some files in this import media, you can just drag them right into this thing down here, which is the timeline. So you can drag them on top of each other or right beside each other. So for example, this is already a created intro, and I'll just drag it right into the timeline. Very easily drag and drop it into there. If I want to preview this, I can just press the play button, and you can see it's previewing this. And then the next thing that I can do is I can drag, like for example, this image file, I can drag it to the right of it, or on top of it if I want to go ahead and do it. I'm just going to drag it to the right of it for right now, and it automatically defaults to 4 seconds. So what if I already have a file, for example, this one, but I want to edit the sound from it. I want to keep the image in the background that's running there, but I want to edit the sound. Either I want to take off the sound, or I want to cut the sound just a bit. So the way that you do that is you're going to actually tell this to go ahead and detach the audio from the image in the background or the video in the background. So I've just basically right-clicked, or if you tap, usually if you double or two-finger tap your trackpad, you can reach this menu here, and all I did was detach the audio. So you can see that the audio has now been displaced down to the bottom here. And the reason why that's important is now I can edit the audio and the image, and they're free of each other, so they're not having to be edited at the same time. So I have this file here that I got from YouTube, and I wanted to actually replace this thing that I already have in the background. So I'm going to go ahead and just drag it. And I can drag it to the bottom timeline down here where the soundtrack is actually at. And if you want to, like you can see that this sound file is really long. So to be able to go ahead and edit that, I can change the size of this screen here by just moving this little toggle button over here on this side. And I can just move it over to the left here. So I could easily manage to cut this super long sound file here. So the way that I'm going to be able to trim it very easily is I can just grab the end of it, and iMovie does this very easily, and I can just grab it and then start scrolling over to the left here, and then make it the same size as what my two images are here, or my video and my image here. And then I can just click this again, this toggle button, to kind of zoom back in and scroll over here to be able to kind of check out what I'm working with here. Now, I don't want this audio file that originally came with this one anymore. So if I select it, and I should be able to select it here, and you can see it, the little yellow is around it. Now I can go ahead and delete that. Or I can cut it too, but I'm going to delete it for right now. Now, you can see by the look of the sound wave that this sound doesn't begin until right here. So really I want this to begin right away at the beginning of my video. So I'm going to I want to trim this sound file. So the way you trim sound files or video files is just find the spot where you want to trim it and then just basically click there. And then you're going to try to get to the right click, basically if you again double tap on or two finger tap on your trackpad. And then now it says I want to go ahead and either you can cut it, you can go ahead and split the clip, and it splits it into two pieces. As you can see, one here and one here. So I'm going to go ahead and take off this part here, and I'm just going to say I want to cut that out. And I can grab this sound file now and drag it over here. And I can do the same thing with up here. I could just cut pieces off, or I can take the ends of them and then drag them over, as I'm going to do right now, to make this, kind of even here. And so if I played this, now it would just have the new background that came from the YouTube clip that I downloaded. So one more thing that you can go ahead and do here is add text, and it's super easy to do. And I'm going to go ahead and drag my image here so you can actually see here. It's called titles inside of iMovie if I want to go ahead and put text into something. So I'm going to click titles so you can kind of see what and I have a ton of choices here. So when I'm ready, I simply go ahead and grab any one of these titles and then drag them down into my timeline. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's do this reveal one, and I'm going to drag it down into the timeline here. As you can see here, I'm going to drag it right on top of this Spanish one weather activity thing. And you can see the title actually appears right here. Now in this one it looks kind of awkward because there's already kind of some text in the background, but I can edit this, and then I can write whatever I need to. Check this out. Of course, up here at the top, I can change the type of font and the size, etc., the color, and those kinds of things. And then I can also move this to wherever I want to. So this title, it doesn't just belong here. I can actually shift this title over, so it can overlap between these two things or wherever I wanted it at the end. It's up to you totally where you want it. So in this case, I think it was a reveal title. So let's just take a look at what it looks like. And it reveals the title there. And then that's the way it would look like. There's a ton of different choices, though, here to be able to put your titles in. Super easy to go ahead and do. When you're ready to go ahead and you're like, oh, cool, my video looks awesome, and now I'm ready to go ahead and turn it in, let's say to Schoology, what you would do is you're going to just basically call what's backing out. And it's going to where it says projects up here, it's kind of weird as far as an iMovie. I'm going to click projects, and right away it's prompting me to say, hey, what do you want to call this? And I'm going to call this test movie, and I'm going to press OK. And then it takes me back to this projects area. So here's my test movie here, and it says it's 7 seconds long, and when I'm ready, I want to turn it in. I'm going to click these three little dots here, and it's going to give me an option to share the project. Now the one that we want to choose is this one right here where it says File. And I'm going to click File, and it says, hey, do you still want to call it Test Movie? And maybe I don't. I want to actually put my name on it or something like that. There. And then one of the things you want to make sure you notice is this number right here cannot be over 100 megabytes. If it is over 100 megabytes, a super easy thing you can do is click Quality here and change the quality to medium, for example, and it reduces the number of megabytes. The reason why it can't be over 100 megabytes is that in Schoology you can't submit anything over 100. So just check that number. If it isn't over 100, then you're all good. If it is, just switch the quality here. And then you're going to just press Next, and it's going to ask you, where do you want to actually save this? For example, do you want to save it into my documents? Yes, I do. I'm going to press Save. And then up here, it's going to tell you as it saves this project, and it's going to tell you when it's finished. As you see the little circle being filled out here, once it's done, then you can go ahead and find that in your documents and submit it to Schoology very easily. I'll be there tomorrow to be able to help you guys out. If you need any help, let me know. Adios.